Welcome back. Now we're on to left hand in the Barcarolle. Take a look at the first measure. We know we're in the key of G, so that first interval is going to be an interval of a fifth. G and D, 3 and 1. Thumb stays on D, second finger on C, then fourth finger on F. So this F, C, D chord is 4, 2, 1. We play that twice. Then last measure of the first line, same chord we started with, G and D. And then I usually hit this low D with my fourth finger. It's just part of a technique that's done sometimes when we have a low note by itself with notes surrounding it with enough time to do 4, because it gives access for us to come back up and set 3 and 1 very quickly for the repeat back at the beginning. So we would repeat that line again, and then second line starts on the same chord, G and D. Then we have a nice D octave for 2 measures, 4, 1. And then last measure is the same as the last measure of the first line, G and D, 4 on G. Then next 2 lines, somewhat easier. We just have a single note by themselves, G, F, F, G, G, F, F, then D and G. Then we have the rolled chords for the last 2 measures of the song, and I've talked about this. When we do these rolled chords, we typically want to do the whole thing, so we can practice that nice even sound between those notes from bottom up. Start slowly if you're not used to rolled chords. So take your time with those rolled chords. Don't just rush through them. They are part of harp music indefinitely. We have rolled chords everywhere. So the sooner you learn to really use your ear and listen to the evenness between each note, and make that chord nice and even and lush and beautiful, you'll be setting yourself up for success for every other rolled chord we're going to encounter. Thanks for joining me for this one. That is Barcarolle, and before I let you go, I'm going to play through the whole thing so we can hear what it sounds like. Again, I encourage you as you go through this, as you're practicing this, to implement the dynamics as soon as possible into your practice session and exaggerate those dynamics. You know, work on making mezzo piano a little bit softer than it might be. Really exaggerate that crescendo decrescendo. And why would we want to exaggerate something like that? The reason I tell my students to exaggerate dynamics is because usually it's something that they haven't practiced before. They haven't practiced dynamics. It's not part of their daily routine. It's something they don't do all the time. So when I ask them to exaggerate it, it's in an effort to eventually get it to become familiar or normal when we finally get it down to where we want it to be. So it's basically making something bigger, more grandiose than it is, kind of getting ourselves outside that comfort zone. And then when we finally tailor it back to a gradual dynamic that we want, it feels more natural. It feels normal. Enjoy this one. I like this one. And I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me.